your consulting start here?
Thank you so much, Adam. That's very kind of you with a very long introduction. Thank you so much for that.
No.
I hope I'm audible and visible to everyone. You guys can just give a thumbs up. You can confirm.
Yes, you are, Sheikh.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, guys.
बंद कर दीजिए, इस
Absolutely
पे ऑन कर
great to
लेता हूँ,
see you
स्क्रीन रिकॉर्ड
guys
कर लेगा
at
फिर.
the Consulting Club of AMU. As Adam said,
मैं
I've been in touch with the
तुम बंद
team
क्या करूँ?
since a
मैं
very
बस
long
वो
time,
अनम्यूट कर देता हूँ.
since they came up with me with this idea, and I think it's been 5 6 months since the first call or first discussion I had with the team, and it's really heartening to see things come up, to see the club come up, to see a community of people who are interested in consulting come up. And for Allah know those for the consulting club is famous at the Government University JMI. College goes scores very high. So I think firstly a huge round of applause for the core team, the president, vice president, the directors who are here, who have been leading this team and who are trying to build the culture of consulting and who've done a very fantastic job in getting Consultative Club AMU. So we can just have a round of applause for them with the emojis, guys. Uh, Probably done a lot of work so far, and definitely they'll do a lot of good work in the future, and you guys will take it ahead. With that said, let's move into today's session. Just let me share my screen and we can start with the presentations. Okay, Adam, I'll join with another device so I can have a. Okay, this I think works perfect. Okay, fine. Right, perfect. Okay, guys, so let's talk about consulting. I hope you guys will have an idea about consulting since this is the consulting club. Before we go on to the session, I just needed to do a check of which department, which year are the people in. So you guys can just type in the comment section. We'll try to keep this interactive. You can use the comment section. You can unmute anytime, ask me questions. I'll also take up questions at the end of the session. In between, अगर कोई भी सवाल हो तो वो भी आप मेरे से पूछ सकते हो. Guys, you can just type in the chat in the comment box your year of study and your course. So I just have an understanding of the kind of audience we have here. Which year are you in? Which course are you from, guys? PBA final year. Okay, great. BCom second year, BTech second year, first year, PA, LLB, BCom third year. Okay. BCom, BBA, then there's again BBA second year, BBA second year, BBA first year. Okay, first year. I like you're still in first year, second year, so you guys still have a lot of time to build on the roadmap that we'll talk about today. BSc Computer Applications. Okay, that's very good diversity. Really glad to see that. MBA final year is also here. Bachelor's of Optometry internship. Okay, that's like a lot of diversity. So that's what we see when we are in a university. Great. Just a quick brief about myself. I think Sami has talked about it enough. So just a background of where all the experiences that I'll share today come from. I have worked at Zomato, Vedantu, Pronto, and Culturegram as an intern. I'm still in the final year of my college at Jamia Millia Islamia. I have worked across domains like growth, strategy, and research majorly. I've also been participated in a lot of case competitions, and I've won 5 of them nationally. And I have also been one of the major experiences that comes to me is of running the consulting club at Jamia Millia Islamia, which is 180 degrees consulting, where I spent 3 long years of my college going from a consultant, which a lot of you would be here, to consulting director, and then finally leading it as the president. So a lot of conversations that we're doing today, a lot of knowledge sharing that I'm doing here is based on these experiences. Cool. So as we move ahead, I'll just want you to keep this very interactive. Let's just take 30 seconds to answer this. What does consulting mean to you? I know all of you would have an idea about it, but just trying to understand from you guys, what does consulting mean to you? You can type in the chat, or better off if anyone wants to unmute you are good enough, you can directly
क्या
unmute and
कर
speak. Anyone guys, what's consulting very shortly, very briefly in the comment section? You can type in. Also, we'll try to cover 3 sections today. One would be about how do you get into consulting in college. Like अभी बहुत सारे बच्चे first year, second year में, so we'll try to look at what could be a possible roadmap for you, what are the opportunities. In the second part of it, we'll go towards problem solving. I'll show you a bit of frameworks, and in the third part, we'll talk about case competition. So I'll try to wrap it up in 40 odd minutes.
अच्छा okay sweet.
So there's some good answers. Problem solving exactly is about solving business problems in our world. Exactly, it's business problem solving, logical, analytical solutions, solving real world problems, getting clarity of any issues, guiding others by analyzing situations. I think the club has a very good understanding of it. It is the profession of advising businesses to solve their pressing business problems. So what happens typically is there is a consulting agency, then there is a business, there's a consulting firm, then there is a business. Business जो है अपनी कुछ problems, business problems जो outsource करेगा consulting firm को, and then the consulting firm will work on it. Very similar to what you guys said, right? Now, let's talk about a bit of career in consulting. क्या career है, कितनी growth है, what is the money aspect of it, how difficult it is to enter. If anyone has questions, you can just type it out or you can ask me. The starting salaries in consulting range from 12 to 24. This is for engineering graduates at big MNCs. 12 को आप 10, 11, 12 की category में ले सकते हो. So, like to be very blunt with you, this number uh, is 24 वाला जो number है, it's more towards very little. You can look at the lower side of it कि 10 12 lakh के करीब. That's the range of salaries you can get if you directly go into consulting as a fresher from BTech or any other course. You can look at a 10, 12, 13 LPA role if you are getting into big three firms like McKinsey, Bain and BCG. Right, अगर आप इन कंपनीज में जा रहे हो या इवन अदर कंपनीज लाइक ZS और देयर इज समाग्रा, देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ कंसल्टिंग कंपनीज, लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंट सेक्टर्स. 12 LPA is like a goal, is like a number you can keep in mind if you want to go into consulting right out of bachelor's, especially coming from a non-target school like Aligarh Muslim University or Jamia Millia Islamia for that matter. So consulting companies are very biased towards selecting from target schools which are probably top colleges in the country. But even when you're coming from a background of AMU, Jamia, or schools that are not in their eyes, you can still get in with a 12 LPA kind of a package if you go to McKinsey, Bain, BCG. We'll talk about what your roadmap could be. अगर आप अभी first year, second year में हो तो आप क्या कर सकते हो so that by third, fourth year you can actually you can actually have a shot at these companies, right? But the good thing about consulting is you start at 12 LPA, but it has like really good career growth also and good growth also in terms of salaries. And also there is a lot of travel to client locations. If you're going in a client facing role, then there's a lot of travel. There are generous exit opportunities. नीचे मैंने career trajectory दिखाई है, but this career trajectory is not exactly what people usually do. If you get in to consulting as an analyst, people don't usually go to the role of senior partner or even partner. They quit somewhere in 3 to 5 years. मतलब you will see, अगर आप देखोगे जो भी consultants की profiles देखोगे, usually what people do is वो 4-5 साल में consulting छोड़ देते हैं. Why this happens is because consulting is very very demanding, long working days and even longer working nights. It's a very demanding profession, especially when you are at a front office role. And clearly, anyone has idea about a front office and a back office role in consulting? If anyone has, you can unmute or you can type in the chat. If anyone has, you can type in the chat. Also, I'm explaining that. So there are two types of roles: front office and back office roles in consulting. जो maximum roles अभी big three firms में as a undergraduate when you're going into consulting, you usually work at back office roles. So you are not directly dealing with the client. You are working in a back office team where you are majorly working on research, a little bit of data, and making presentations. That is majorly the work that you're doing. And जितनी भी consulting companies हैं, इनके back offices भी है. जैसे Bain and Company has a back office called as Bain Capability Network. So a lot of hiring which happens at the undergraduate level is actually for the back office. So back office or front office का distinction समझना बहुत important है. But to be honest, a lot of hiring at undergraduate level, if you do a BBA, BTech or any degree, you will go in a back office role, even if you go to a very big consulting company like the MBBs. I hope you know MBBs. MBBs जो है वो top 3 consulting firms है. which is McKinsey, Bain, and BCG, Boston Consulting Group. Right, these three are the best consulting groups in the entire world. So yeah, I was speaking about back office and front office roles. So जो यहाँ पे career trajectory लिखी हुई है, this is more of a front office role career trajectory जिसमें जाना काफी मुश्किल होता है. But even if you start from a back office role, you can shift to a front office role. One more thing I want to say here is if you want to get into consulting, MBA is actually the route, especially if you are from a non-target school. Non-target school, again, I'm saying every school which is not there at the top, like there are certain schools like IITs, say, I'm talking about getting into big three best consulting firms and getting like these kind of packages or this kind of a career trajectory. The best way is an MBA from a top business school, right? Especially given that currently all of us may not be from IITs or may not be from SRCC, जहाँ पे consulting companies undergraduate level पे on campus hire करती है, right? तो आई थिंक अलीगढ़ में भी कोई ऑन कैंपस कंपनी तो आती नहीं होगी कंसल्टिंग में. सो इफ यू गाइस आर सीरियस अबाउट बिल्डिंग अ करियर इन कंसल्टिंग in the longer run, MBA has to be your thing, right? You can eventually do it maybe after some work experience, if not in the beginning. Although आप directly भी जा सकते हो, but the kind of career growth you'll get in MBA would be better. That's kind of my takeaway from all the experiences that I've had with people around me. So post an MBA degree, if you join from a top B school, if you get into an IIM or an equivalent B school, you can expect around 30 LPA of package directly. So if you probably go in an IIM for an MBA or something, then you can get up to 30 LPA. But even if it's not the case, you can still get in at a lower package or as an analyst. You get in at 12, 18 post MBA even, and then you grow from there. You grow in the company or you switch companies and do your growth, and then you eventually will get to a higher package. One more thing which I was saying is कि 3 4 5 साल में लोग ना कंपनी छोड़ देते हैं. लोग कंसल्टिंग छोड़ के ना एग्जिट करके they can go to a lot of domains like investment banking, they can go to product, they will join startups, big startups, small startups. They get of course a lot of money, plus the work life balance gets better, and also real time problem solving होती है वहाँ पे. तो this is about it. The next set of skills, if anyone has any questions related to that, we can pick it up in the later part of the session once we're done towards the end. The second is skills required. You'll need problem solving. Problem solving is a skill you develop with practice. How will we do it? We'll talk about it आगे. Structured thinking is a very big skill in consulting. I give you a problem statement. I give you a business problem. How do you structure it? How do you break it down? कोई business problem को हम कैसे तोड़ेंगे? हम उसको कैसे structure करेंगे? That's like one of the most important things. Then there is analytical skills. How do you analyze any information? How do you take things out of it? Suppose I gave you a data set. How do you extract insights from that data set? Now, what's an insight? Anyone wants to take a guess at what an insight is in the comment box? Anyone? What's an insight? What's a business insight? Anyone?
Business insights and
You can take a guess, guys. Any trend, deeper knowledge, information? Okay. Okay. Not exactly trend. You can somehow say it's an information. It's a strategy. Okay. So you're actually insight would be like you're gaining a deeper understanding and a more accurate understanding of something, right? Say I gave you a lot of data points, but you extract out of it. What understanding do you extract out of it? If I give you a passage or anything, what do you extract out of it? What is the one piece of information or what is the one piece of understanding you extract out of it? That's insight. So analytical insight. Insight is a deep understanding. Yeah, that's a good one. Taha. So you need to have good analytical skills. You need to also have good data analytical skills. So you need to know tools like Excel and languages like SQL. Then there is research skills. You need to have good business acumen, communication, presentation skills. Can't stress on this enough. Communication, if you want to go into consulting or any kind of a business non-tech role, communication is like the first thing that you should learn. You need to be good at English. You need to be confident. You need to have a good body language. You need to be very good in putting across your words कि मैं बहुत ही simple भाषा में अपने like how can I express myself in very simple language. Confidence communication is probably the core of consulting, because when you sit in consulting interviews or you sit in team meetings बहुत ज़्यादा interaction with people है इसमें, and if you don't have these skills then you're going to go down. So my advice to everyone, if you are not good at it right now, put yourself into situations yes जहाँ से आपका communication improve हो, जहाँ से आपका English improve हो. Of course English is important, can't discount that at all. कम्युनिकेशन इज इम्पोर्टेंट कि आप बहुत अच्छे से बोलो, आप बहुत क्लियरली अपने पॉइंट को आगे रख पाओ, and your nervousness gets is very low. That's very important. So that only comes with practice. And I think Consulting Club AMU is that platform for all of you to also practice all of this. Then there's attention to detail and also leadership. Now, this was a very important slide. How do you break into consulting? For everyone who's in their first and second years, especially जो भी first और second years में है ना, जिनके पास अभी 1-2 साल college के बचे हुए हैं, this roadmap can actually get you a 12 LPA, 11 LPA job in a big consulting firm. It's very doable. It's very, very doable. I'll just give a disclaimer before going into this roadmap. I told this multiple times, since we are not from a target school, because consulting companies are very biased in terms of which colleges they hire from. Especially the consulting companies I'm talking about here is McKinsey, Bain, and BCG, which is the tier one company. So they're very, very biased about which colleges they hire from. So that is kind of a negative thing for all of us who don't come from a target school at an undergrad level. But again, then the opportunities are still there. You can still get in, right? And a disclaimer is, if you want to get into consulting, keep a good CGPA. You should at least have a CGPA of 8 plus. Like if you are in first, second year, please keep a very good CGPA, because CGPA is a very big factor of hiring in consulting. So you should have a very good CGPA. So if you're there in your first, second years, please focus on your academics also. Although it's not going to directly help you, but you need to have a good CGPA to be eligible for the roles. So a starting point into breaking into consulting is a consulting club. कि आप एक consulting club को join करो, जहाँ पे आपको थोड़ा exposure मिलेगा. You will have case sessions like these. Sessions like these, you will have seniors who are chasing the same thing. You will have people around you who are chasing the same thing. So it's a good starting point. Then जो second चीज है, that is a case study competition. You Once you are in a club, you need to second pick up and go and do case study competitions. थर्ड इज अ कंसल्टिंग प्रोजेक्ट, कि आप कंसल्टिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स पे काम करो. फोर्थ इज MS Excel and SQL. Again, if you are going into consulting, you need to know Excel, because you will be working on data. You will be working on some form of data analytics, and बहुत ही basic SQL you can work on. But even if you don't work on like learn SQL, that's completely fine. या बहुत ही basic level का SQL if you work, that's very good. Also, जो मैं route दिखा रहा हूँ, it's very ideal. So you don't even need to do all of it. You can directly probably skip it and still get in. But this is like a textbook way of getting in to consulting at an undergrad level, being from a non-target school. तो MS Excel SQL थोड़ा बहुत कर सकते हो. Then you have case interviews and guesstimates. uh, Guesstimates क्या है, case interviews क्या है, it's a big discussion, but these are things that are asked in your consulting job interviews. That's what it is. And then there is relevant internship. So this is a flow that you can follow. अभी आप क्लब में हो, आप केस कॉम्पिटिशन्स करना शुरू करो. You might get some consulting projects inside of the club, which is again going to give you learning and a CV thing. So once you're applying for internships, you have case studies on your CV, you have consulting projects on your CV. Then learn Excel you कहीं से भी सीख सकते हो, YouTube से. You can do a course. Honestly, it's not going to take you more than a week to learn MS Excel. It's that simple. अगर आप अभी zero पे हो, from going from to zero to advanced to the level you will usually need in corporate, it's not going to take you more than a week. Then there is case interviews and guesstimates. बहुत simple चीजें, बहुत basic, बहुत ही ज़्यादा basic चीजें. Once you practice them, you're done. And relevant internships. So I would suggest you, if you guys are in first year right now, you want to break into consulting, फर्स्ट ईयर में आप अगले 1 साल के लिए यू ट्राई टू डू केस कॉम्पिटिशन्स, प्रोजेक्ट्स, लर्न एक्सेल. जो केस इंटरव्यूज और गेस्टिमेट्स का पार्ट है, दैट माइट कम अप इन योर इंटर्नशिप इंटरव्यूज, बट इट्स वेरी सिंपल. लाइक केस इंटरव्यूज एंड गेस्टिमेट्स बहुत बेसिक लेवल पे आप 1 हफ्ते में एक्चुअली सीख सकते हो. अगर आपको इंटर्नशिप्स में जाना है, उससे पहले आप थोड़ा सा केस इंटरव्यूज और गेस्टिमेट्स सीख लो, देन आप इंटर्नशिप्स के लिए बैठो, यू विल गेट वेरी गुड इंटर्नशिप्स. अगर आप फर्स्ट ईयर में हो, ट्राई टू गेट एन इंटर्नशिप एट द एंड ऑफ योर सेकेंड ईयर. or even if it's possible at the end of your third semester, try to get an internship at a startup or a consulting firm. Now, that's a very big topic, but I'm just giving you, putting it out in your mind. इस तरह का road map follow करके you can actually have a very good break in to consulting. It starts with an internship. You need to do a couple of very good internships before you apply to full-time jobs. So अगर second year में एक you try to do one or two internships in second year. If you have a 4 year degree, you can do one in third year also. So try to build a roadmap for you जिससे आप consulting में जा सकते हो. Uh, that's that. If anyone has questions, you can put it in the chat box, guys. Any questions for now, or we can get into some business problem solving? I'm short on time here, but we'll try to keep this one interactive. Right. Now, I have a very starting point framework here for all of you. Uh, a framework, anyone wants to take a guess on what a framework is? You guys would have some idea of a framework. You can write in the chat, guys, what's a framework? Plan of action, not exactly plan of action.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about the previous topic that you were speaking about,
Okay.
breaking into consulting. For tech jobs, there are a lot of uh, there are a lot of interviews and tests that you have to pass. Is it the same for consulting?
No, actually, no. Like, if you're talking about getting into consulting at an undergraduate level, the flow is very simple. You will need to apply to the company. You need to have a resume. You apply to the company. If your resume gets shortlisted, you will have a couple of interviews. Which will revolve around one, guesstimates, case interviews, and your CV discussion, and an HR round. So you might have 2 to 3 interviews, and it will just be guesstimates, case interviews, and your CV discussion. At max, if you have any kind of a hard skill test, that will just be MS Excel depending on the company. But even in a lot of companies, they don't actually test Excel. But for some internships or some roles, they may like want to test your Excel skills. So that would be the hard skill test that you will have. Except for that, at an undergraduate level, no other test. So it's actually very easy to get in, to be honest, if you build the kind of career path. Right. Thank you so much for the question. Anyone else can drop in your questions, ask, or we can take it at the end. But I think we have a couple of basic structure of system. Yeah, structure, exactly. Structure is what frameworks is. So I told you कि consulting में structure is one of the most important things. आपको कोई problem statement देते हो, आपको उसको structure, बहुत ही structural way में solve करना होता है, right? So let's get into a very basic framework which is out there that you can. So this is a starting point framework which you guys can kind of refer to. Again, कोई भी frameworks होते हैं ना, किसी भी business problem पे हम नहीं लगा सकते. There are a lot of frameworks already out there in the industry, and you can also create your own framework. So the framework that I am showing you right now is a framework that I personally use. It is not like a framework of any casebook. It's a framework that I've kind of come up with myself. It's a reference framework for myself. अगर मेरे पास कोई भी रियल टाइम बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम आती है, स्पेशली ड्यूरिंग माय इंटर्नशिप्स और प्रोजेक्ट्स व्हेन आई एम लाइक वर्किंग इन कंपनीज, आई काइंड ऑफ ट्राई टू यूज दिस फ्रेमवर्क, राइट? दिस इज हाउ आई वांट टू स्टार्ट अप्रोचिंग दैट प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम, स्पेशली जब मेरे को समझ नहीं आता है कि कैसे करना है. दिस इज जस्ट अ स्ट्रक्चर, राइट? So if मैंने आपको कोई problem statement दी, what are we going to do? We are going to create a hypothesis. Any one of you on what we are going to take a hypothesis first. Anyone on what a hypothesis is? See, I gave you any business problem statement. सबसे पहले मैं एक hypothesis लूंगा. What is a hypothesis? Anyone, and why do you take a hypothesis? An imaginary situation, okay? Any statement that can be true or false, okay? You guys are pretty close. Anyone else wants to take a guess on hypothesis, and why are we taking an hypothesis early on?
Was subjective.
prediction. Okay, right. You guys are kind of very close. So hypothesis क्या है ना, we are taking a supposition, या we are putting up a proposed explanation. अगर हमारे पास we take a supposition या हम कुछ proposed explanation या हम किसी चीज को basically predict या assume कर रहे हैं on the basis of some sort of evidence that we have. Now this evidence ये क्या होगी? This could be some data, this could be some internal data, this could be some external data, this could be anything. But हमें प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट मिली, हम ना शुरुआत में एक हाइपोथेसिस लेंगे, शुरुआत में ही हम कुछ assumption लेंगे on the basis of some reasoning that we have. And why will we do this? This is to limit our scope of problem solving, right? Now when we go to examples, you will understand what exactly I mean. Start में हमें कोई problem statement मिली, we take some kind of an hypothesis to limit ourselves in terms of the range of problem solving, right? We'll go to the examples of solving a business problem, then you will understand this in much detail. So just hold on a couple of minutes with me. Next, you have research. Once you have a problem statement, you have taken a certain set of hypotheses. What you will do is research. Now I'll go through this framework quickly, then we'll try to solve a problem statement together. Research mein we will have two types of research. One is secondary research. What is a secondary research? Secondary research mein you are looking at verified published sources to get information, right? What is research at a broader term? अगर आपको कोई problem statement है, आप उसके बारे में you are finding out things, relevant information. That is what your research is. Research is segmented into two types. Again, research is like the base of consulting. You start any business problem with researching, right? You create a hypothesis. Again, hypothesis banana hai, nahi banana hai, that's very subjective. So again, this entire framework is very subjective. This is not open to all problem statements. This is just a way of me showing you how you can structure problem statements, right? Second kind of research is primary research. Secondary research is published verifiable sources जितने भी है, चाहे आपकी गवर्नमेंट रिपोर्ट्स हो गई, आपकी कंसल्टिंग रिपोर्ट एजेंसीज की रिपोर्ट्स हो गई, मार्केट रिसर्च फर्म्स की रिपोर्ट हो गई, whatever is published verified data on the internet, you take information from that. Primary research is the research that you do. Suppose I have to understand what is the how good is the food in Aligarh, right? One of the ways of looking at it could be that I go on the internet, I read articles about it, I read reports that are published. Maybe AMU has published something, maybe some media outlet has published something. I go through it. That is one way of understanding how good is the food quality in AMU, in Aligarh. Say. Another way of looking at it is that I actually conduct a survey in Aligarh. I go to Aligarh, I conduct a survey with 100 people. I ask them questions on how good the food is, or how do they feel about the food, a set of questions. And on the basis of that, I generate an insight. I get an insight कि कितना अच्छा वहाँ पे quality of food है, right? So there are very two different approaches. Now, primary research has a lot of ways of doing it. You can interview people, you can have it through questionnaires, you can have focus group discussions. So it's a long list. Secondary research is also a long list of how you do, but that's just a basic idea. Secondary research, primary research, two types of researches. When you're working in a problem statement, especially what I'm showing right now is a kind of solving a problem statement in a real company. अगर आप किसी कंपनी में इंटर्न या जॉब कर रहे हो, तो उस उधर आप kind of ऐसे you can approach things. The second part of this is reading through data. Now you would have heard a lot about data-driven decision making. This part focuses on that कि आपने एक साइड से रिसर्च कर ली अपनी सेकेंडरी प्राइमरी, आप फिर रीडिंग थ्रू डेटा, you will go through data. Now you will go through two types of data: internal data, and second is an external data, right? आप कंपनी में इंटरनल डेटा देखोगे, जो कंपनी के अंदर डेटा पॉइंट्स होंगे. Now I'll give you an example. Suppose I am working in Zomato, right? I am working in Zomato, and we have to expand Zomato into Aligarh. Say it's not in Aligarh right now, and we want to expand Zomato into Aligarh, right? So how do we do that, right? We will look at certain internal data points that Zomato would have tracked from the app in Aligarh. Say I will know कि Zomato अलीगढ़ में कितने लोगों ने ऑलरेडी जोमेटो डाउनलोड कर रखा है, अलीगढ़ के किन रीजन्स में कर रखा है. सो दीज आर इंटरनल डेटा पॉइंट्स दैट द कंपनी वुड हैव, दैट आई विल लुक एट. एक्सटर्नल डेटा कैन बी कंबाइंड इनटू सेकेंडरी रिसर्च की जो भी आप क्वांटिफाइबल एक्सटर्नल डेटा ले सकते हो टू गेट टू द सोल्यूशन, राइट. इंटरनल डेटा जो कंपनी ने ट्रैक करा होगा उसको हम देखेंगे, सो वी कैन गेट इनसाइट्स आउट ऑफ इट. एक्सटर्नल डेटा पॉइंट्स हम देखेंगे. What are we going to get out of everything? Secondary research, primary research, internal data, external data. What are we going to get out of it? We are going to get insights and rationale out of it. So you can basically say we are going to get insights out of it. जो भी हमने काम किया इससे हमने business insights निकाली. And on the basis of those insights, we're going to create a solution. This is a very top level framework. Again, you cannot use this everywhere, but like it's a good starting framework. You guys have any questions? You can type it out or you can unmute again yourself. But I'll just go to an example. Maybe you'll understand this better with an example of what I'm trying to say. And then we will quickly try to solve a problem statement together. Right. So again, hypothesis is something. Why we are using a hypothesis is because अगर हम hypothesis use नहीं करेंगे ना, काफी बार क्या होगा ना, analysis paralysis होगा. Analysis paralysis is a term where you are doing a lot of analysis और आप बहुत ही ज्यादा research कर रहे हो और उसमें आपका बहुत ही ज्यादा time जा रहा है. तो उसको प्रिवेंट करने के लिए ना, हम अपनी रिसर्च को नैरो डाउन करने के लिए, हम अपने स्कोप को नैरो डाउन करने के लिए वी यूज हाइपोथेसिस. हमें हाइपोथेसिस यूज करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए, डिपेंड्स ऑन द प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट, डिपेंड्स ऑन व्हिच कंपनी वी आर वर्किंग एट, डिपेंड्स ऑन द ड्यूरेशन वी आर वर्किंग एट. तो इट्स वेरी सब्जेक्टिव. We should use it or not use it, right? Now let's think of an expansion or growth of a new business in a new city, of a business in a new city. Now I don't know if which business is probably not present in Aligarh, but yeah, there's a brand called Yes Madam. You guys know about Yes Madam? YESMADAM. Any you guys know? Yes Madam. You can give me a thumbs up if you know. Yeah, great. Some of you do. So Yes Madam is a brand जहाँ पे salon services घर पे आती है. Yeah, salon services. A lot of these salon services come to your home. I don't know if it's present in Aligarh or not, but imagine is this brand is not present in Aligarh, right? So is thought se we'll try to solve this. I'll tell you how we can solve this, right? Imagine that this brand is not present in Aligarh, right? तो वी विल, अभी मैंने इसमें हाइपोथेसिस कुछ लिया नहीं है, ठीक है, मैं फ्री फ्लो ऑफ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग से इसको सॉल्व कर रहा हूँ. तो सबसे पहले ना, अगर मुझे, मेरे पास ये प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट है कि मुझे यस मैडम को अलीगढ़ में एक्सपैंड करना है, तो हाउ डू आई डू इट, लाइक वेयर डू आई स्टार्ट, what services do I start with, like all these questions. How do I hire people on the supply side, like basic. मैं कैसे यस मैडम को अलीगढ़ में स्टार्ट करूंगा? We'll start with researching about this. I I'll just take 10 more minutes to finish this up. The next set of slides is just very information heavy, so just give me 10 more minutes and then we can probably move on to the questions also, right? But listen to this very carefully. This is very important in terms of problem solving and building a structured mindset. So we'll start with researching about what? We will start with secondary research. Now secondary research में हम क्या करेंगे? We will look at the market of Aligarh. We will look at कि कितने saloons Aligarh में है, कितना attractive market है Aligarh in terms of salons, in terms of convenience, ki do they prefer, how much is their usage of other apps, what is the attractiveness of the market, are there similar competitors that exist in the market. So we are studying the market at a broader level. पूरा मार्केट अलीगढ़ का इन टर्म्स ऑफ सलोन सर्विसेज, इन टर्म्स ऑफ ऑनलाइन कन्वीनियंस एप्स, ये सारा हम स्टडी करेंगे इन द सेकेंडरी रिसर्च पार्ट ऑफ इट, राइट? कॉम्पिटिटर पढ़ेंगे, मार्केट अट्रैक्टिवनेस पढ़ेंगे. इट्स अ वेरी लॉन्ग सेट ऑफ थिंग्स दैट वी विल लुक एट. That is one, right? That is one way of looking at it. That's one research we'll do, out of which we'll generate insight. We'll see कि कौन सी services, salon services अलीगढ़ में ज़्यादा use होती है, right? Which services are used, what is the price range that people prefer. So there's a lot of things that we will look into it. और ये हम कैसे कर रहे हैं? We are just looking at the internet. We are looking at verified, trusted reports, sources on the internet. उसमें से हम information निकाल रहे हैं, ठीक है? Second is your primary research. Anyone want to take a guess on what we'll do in primary research? What we can do? How we can approach primary research in a case? अगर हमें yes madam को अलीगढ़ में शुरू करना है, that is the problem. We have to start yes madam in Aligarh. How do we? Yes madam is an online app for providing salon services at home, right? That's yes madam. So what kind of a primary research would you guys do? Anyone? You can just unmute anyone who wants to take a shot at this or type in the chat. Okay, no one wants to take a shot at this, but talk to salons if they'll have a partnership. Yeah, this is one way of doing it. I don't want to go into depth. There's a lot of depth into this. Like we have supply side, we have demand side, list of salons. Yeah, survey. Yeah, you can do a survey. Taking survey by Insta influencers. Nice surveys, right? You guys are very much on it. Someone mentioned about talking to salons. Now there are two parts of this business. There's a supply side and there's a demand side. On the supply side, you will have all the salons. Although yes, madam doesn't partner with salons, I need to look at their model, so we might not just go there right now. But there are always two sides to it. You can either talk to professionals in Aligarh जो आपके platform पे onboard होंगे, and then you can also talk to the customers. So we run a survey in the professionals if we want to understand the supply side problems. And अगर हमें demand side problems देखनी है, customer side problems, तो हमने survey run किए inside the customer. So we'll again go with questions like what are you willing to use the app? What are the prices you pay? Which services do you use the most? वो एक primary research होगी जिससे आप insights निकालोगे. Okay, maybe we get to know that 1500 is an amount that Aligarh is willing to spend on this kind of a service. Maybe whatever X is the service, manicure is the service, maybe which people in Aligarh, which they would prefer a lot. You get that out of your primary research. So there is primary research, there's secondary research that you have to do. Right. Then, just a minute, guys. Hold on. Okay, then you will go through data. Now you will go through internal data. Now internal data may there could be some data points that you will have inside of the app. Again, one of the data points could be अलीगढ़ की किस लोकेशन में लोगों ने आप ऑलरेडी डाउनलोड कर रखा है या इंस्टाग्राम में अलीगढ़ पे आपके पास कहाँ से ट्रैफिक आ रहा है. सो ऑल दीज डेटा पॉइंट्स टेल यू कि मुझे कहाँ पे लॉन्च करना है इस मैडम को. आई डोंट नो अ लॉट अबाउट अलीगढ़ बट से एएमयू के अंदर कैंपस से बहुत ज्यादा अट्रैक्शन आ रहा है यस मैडम की ऐप पे. दे विल हैव ऑल दोस डेटा पॉइंट्स कलेक्टेड. दैट इज अ डेटा दैट्स अ मेट्रिक जिसके बेसिस पे they can like launch and they can launch around locations in AMU first. So इसी तरह से जितने भी internal data company ने collect किया होगा with respect to AMU, will go into that. या you will know कि यूपी में किस type of services ज़्यादा चलती है. अलीगढ़ may be similar to some other cities. So वहाँ पे कौन सी services हमारी ज़्यादा चलती है, यहाँ पे भी वो चलेंगी. या कौन सा price point चलता है. So जितना भी internal data होगा हमारे पास, उसको हम analyze करेंगे. On the basis of that, we'll take decisions. Right, then there's external data. External data again आप अपनी secondary research से कुछ external data points लेके आओगे. उसके basis पे आप insights और rational use करके आप solution बनाओगे, right? So this is how we can go about this. Now again, a hypothesis is something that we can take in the situation. It could be anything based on whatever information the company would have. Say the company has certain set of information. Say मैं पहले ही limit कर दूँ. I don't know, अलीगढ़ might be a very big city. So अलीगढ़ के बहुत सारी regions छोड़ के मैं एक छोटे region में limit कर दूँ. Say मेरे पास ये data है. मैंने पहली assumption मार दी on the basis of some logic that मैं सिर्फ ना अलीगढ़ के 5 एरियाज में ही इसको लॉन्च करने की बात करूंगा. और से वी आर लॉन्चिंग इन उत्तर प्रदेश. तो उत्तर प्रदेश में मैं सिर्फ लखनऊ अलीगढ़ आई डोंट नो लॉट ऑफ प्लेसेस इन उत्तर प्रदेश बट हाँ 4-5 प्लेसेस में ही मैं इसको लॉन्च करूंगा. वी टेक दिस हाइपोथेसिस. सो इंस्टेड ऑफ स्टडीइंग द एंटायर यूपी थिंग वी विल ओनली स्टडी दीस 4-5 प्लेसेस. देन that is what an hypothesis does. It helps you save time or it helps you save from analysis paralysis. Right, now we'll quickly get into another problem statement. I want you to solve this with me. Will not take more than 3 minutes on this problem statement. You guys can unmute or you can type it in the chat, right? कि हम इसमें क्या करेंगे. Urban company की एक 30-minute house help service है, Insta Maids, in which they provide maid services in 30 minutes. I don't know if you guys know this. They have started a maid service जिसमें 30 मिनट में आपके घर पे maid आएगी. Place a, a, a like you place a service request for a maid on the app. They'll reach to your home in 30 minutes. This has been operating since the last 10 months in Delhi, Mumbai, and all like metropolitan cities, and they're expanding it to other cities, right? So, say they had to expand it into Aligarh, right? What are the things that we will look at? I told you what we will look at. We'll do research. We will do secondary research. So, secondary research, what are the parameters? What are the things you can look at? You can quickly type or talk about it. क्या चीजें आप secondary research में देखोगे for Insta maid service, which is urban companies quick maid service to get into Aligarh. Secondary research में आप क्या चीजें देखोगे? Anyone, you can just type in the comment box. Anyone, guys? Yeah, you look at market demand, existing service operators who look at that's very good. Yumna, Toha, market demand. You look at how what's the demand, kitni services use hoti hai, how already existing services operate. Anything else you look at? Like just think first principle. Like बहुत ही basic levels जो आप क्या क्या चीजें देखोगे अगर आपको वहाँ पे शुरू करना होगा तो. How many people hire maids? Very good, Fatima. What is the price they are willing to pay? कि क्या pricing है maids की अलीगढ़ में? That's very important to see. Prices which can be paid by people. Again, first of all, we'll look at pricing. Nice Taha, nice Aniket. We'll look at the availability of services, kitni available hai. We'll look at availability of people to work. Very good point, Yumna. This is a supply side thing that you're looking on, which is very important. Ki, how, what is the availability of people to work? Now, again, some of it might be secondary research. कि आपको हो सकता है आपको पता ही ना चले availability of work कितनी है, right? Secondary research because there's no published data कि कितने लोग as a maid अलीगढ़ में काम कर रहे हैं या maids में क्या problem face हो रही है. Like if I want to understand the maid side of it, like the availability of the maids to work, like if I have to launch this service, I will onboard maids on my platform from Aligarh itself, right? अब अगर मेरे को maids को वहाँ पे I need to understand the problems in the maids, then maybe I have to do a primary research instead of a secondary research. Maybe the data on secondary research reports are not available. So there are also some use cases जहाँ पे आपको secondary research में आप कर ही नहीं पाओगे, आपको प्राइमरी में ही जाना पड़ेगा. तो अगर यहाँ पे सपोज you want to study the availability of services in Aligarh in terms of house help or availability of people to work, you might have to conduct on-ground surveys. You might have to talk to mates on ground. You might have to talk to a lot of people to understand the challenges क्या है industry में. So this is going to be like a very in-depth exercise that a company actually does before launching. And this is actually an exercise that I have also done at a similar startup for a similar kind of a problem statement of launching their 30 minutes vertical. So you go to primary research, then you will go to reading through data, you will go to tracking internal data. आपके पास जो भी internal data होगा urban company के पास, urban company is already present in अलीगढ़, उनके पास बहुत सारा अलीगढ़ का data होगा कि लोग कहाँ से order कर रहे हैं अलीगढ़ में, कौन सी type of services को use कर रहे हैं, किस price point पे use कर रहे हैं, what time of the day they are using at. So all that data we will track. वहाँ से हम insights निकालेंगे and on the basis of all of this we will generate insights and rational, and on the basis of that we will generate solutions. So guys, this one is kind of showing you how you can structure problem statements. I'll just take 5 more minutes. I'll just do some information downscaling here. Be with me for the next 5 minutes because we'll talk about case study competitions, and then we can just to wrap it up and go to take your questions if any. Again, if you guys have any questions on the framework, happy to answer after the last section. These are some common frameworks that I've put here. Again, I don't have the time to go in depth with this, but you can look it up the internet. आप case books पे जा सकते हो. There's a lot of way of learning these frameworks. You should try to learn and apply as early as you can in your consulting journey. Now, what's a case study competition? Again, I don't have time to keep it a little more interactive right now. I'll just downscale information. Case study competitions are events where you are given case studies on real life crisis and you have to present innovative solutions to a panel of judges. So basically क्या होता है, Unstop नाम का एक प्लेटफॉर्म होता है जिसपे case study competitions आते हैं. आपके पास कुछ case study competitions आएंगे जहाँ पे आपको business problems दी जाएंगी. These business problems can be hypothetical or they can be real. And then in a case study competition, you have to create a solution which is in the form of a slide deck. A slide deck in the form of a presentation, and then you have to present it in front of the judges in the final round. Again, this is a fantastic exercise to do in terms of learning, in terms of networking, in terms of getting into consulting. I highly recommend everyone to go and do case study competitions if you want to get into consulting, if you want to get into any side of business, if you want to do your own startup, if you want to go anywhere in the business domain, please do a case study competition. I cannot tell you जितने भी target schools होते हैं ना, जितने भी best schools है, which even business schools IIM से लेके आपका SRCC, DU के LSR, whatever, CBS, whatever are the top schools, every single student there does case study competitions. That's how like common it is in good schools. And in Jamia, we are trying to build this. Really happy to see you guys. Will be really happy to see you guys do a lot of this because this is what exactly teaches you a lot. So please do case study competitions. If you guys need any help, I'm always here to guide you also in terms of how you can win in competitions, how you can participate. I think the organizers can share my number on the group, or you can share my contact details. If anyone wants to any help in the future regarding anything, you can just reach out to me. But please do case competitions. Cannot stress on this enough. Why does case competitions help? Here we go. I'll just take this as the last slide. I have more slides here, but it will take a lot of time, so let's not go there. How do you approach a case? सबसे पहले आपके पास एक problem statement आएगी, बहुत बड़ी सी 4-5 पेज की problem आएगी. You will read that problem statement, then you will research. Research से पहले maybe you can create a hypothesis also in this case कि okay, these are things that I'll look at and these are things that I'll not look at. You will research. आपको मैंने research का तरीका बोला कि research में you will look at, you can do primary research, you can do secondary research. Secondary research में there's a lot of parameters that you can look at. Once you're done with research, then you go to ideation. दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. जब भी आपके पास केस स्टडी में किसी भी केस कंपटीशन में केस मिले, आप रिसर्च करो. रिसर्च के बाद आप आइडिएशन में जाओ. पहले ही केस देके आप आइडियाज थ्रो ना करो. This is very important in terms of consulting problem solving. Whenever you have a business problem, you should research. You should research about the industry. You should research about the case, the company, about everything before going into ideation. You don't have to jump in with ideas that are like, it's not an idea competition कि आप कुछ भी दिमाग में आएगा वो बोलोगे. You need to research. You need to have a lot of backing before you come to the idea phase. So आप problem को पढ़ो, आप research करो, आप ideation में जाओ, come up with ideas, then you structure all the ideas and structure everything, and then you move on to the presentation. That's like a typical case competition flow that you can have. Okay, so we're not going into all of this because this will take a lot of time, but I'll share the PPT. You can go through it, and because we're also nearing the namaz time, so I'd like to conclude this session here. If you guys have any questions, I am open to taking any kind of questions that you have. I'll share the PPT. There will be more details about the case competition on the PPT. You guys can go through that. Thank you so much, guys. Any questions, you can unmute or you can type in the chat box. Okay, I think we don't have any questions. Anyways, final 30 seconds, guys. If you have questions, you can put it in the chat or you can unmute and ask.
I have a note of appreciation for you. Thank you for conducting this session and providing insights into how consulting works and how we can break into it. It solved a lot of confusions and all of like a lot of things that we didn't know before. We got to know them. And during Rosa, you conducted this session. It has been very, very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Yumna. That's very sweet of you. Thank you so much. Really glad it'll help all of you. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, Arisha.
Assalamualaikum, Hamza. I would also like to appreciate that this session was extremely insightful and gave us a very clear pathway. You explained everything very clearly. But my question to you is, I would ask that with AI growing rapidly, how do you see consulting roles evolving, and what the AI plays like the role in this industry? How does it?
So it's a very good, yeah, it's a very good question. Like, to be very honest, where are we going in 2-3 years? It's a very, like, no one knows where are we heading to in 2-3 years. Every kind of field is getting massively affected. AI right now is so powerful, like not only in terms of consulting, a lot of tech side jobs in coding or in a lot of machine learning, basic kind of ML, or a lot of tech side jobs which were very high paying and which were considered very safe for going out of the market. And a lot same is going to happen in consulting also. A lot of initial research kind of jobs which used to be a lower level at an analyst role jobs, उसमें क्या हो रहा है ना, ऑलरेडी कंपनी के अपने AI टूल से जहाँ से लोग रिसर्च कर रहे हैं, and this all this process has become very less time consuming. So the number of people required is going very down, right? So the jobs are going down, especially at lower level. And I think it's very tough to predict. I've also been trying to understand what will happen in the market, but it's tough to predict. But I can definitely say a lot of jobs are going out of the market in consulting also. A lot of lower level jobs are going down. Maybe higher level problem solving, maybe that still remains, but it's very unpredictable. But at this time, what I recommend all of you is that you learn Gen AI tools. You learn AI tools which will help you research. You learn AI tools which will help you automation. आप किसी भी field में अभी जा रहे हो ना, you need to be good at learning AI tools, and this is evolving very fast. So we talked about a lot about researching through secondary research, secondary reports, going through the internet, scraping the internet, or primary research. But there are like tools that you need to learn. Cloud is a tool. Prompt engineering on ChatGPT. Cloud ho gaya. If you want to go into automations, N8N is something that you can work on. And if you go to consulting companies, they have their internal tools that you will need to work on. So you need to be very AI literate going forward into the job market. And where does consulting go? There's not a fixed answer to it, but yeah, definitely a lot of job losses in the coming time. Thank you so much that you like the session.
Uh,
I have a question on that.
Hmm.
Before the question, I wanted to coordinate invites on the behalf of the club to Aligarh Muslim University. And now the question is, when are you coming and changing this webinar to a seminar?
Thank you so much, Anand. I think you guys, whenever you guys say probably, not whenever, but yeah, probably after Eid sometime.
We will love to have you, ma'am. And
Yeah,
thank you so
definitely
much.
I'd love to come. I really like how you guys are. I really feel that in institutes like Jamia and Aligarh, student initiatives are very important, especially something like consulting, which is a very growing field. It's not just about consulting; it's about the entire ecosystem in terms of business, in terms of startups. Trust me when I say this. In the last 2 3 years, we have seen a lot of things change because of 180 CGMI at Jamia Millia. We have seen a lot of students build their own businesses who have been a part of 180. We have seen a lot of students go into consulting firms. Every year, a couple of students from Jamia Millia do get into, at an undergraduate level, do get into a Bain BCG or a McKinsey kind of a firm, or even a tier one consulting firms, which is a good changing trend. Or they get into bigger companies, unicorn startups, and something like that. So I think a club helps you do that. So it's very good that you're starting it out. Really wishing all the best, and yeah, I would have love to come to the campus. I've never been there, so
Sure, ma'am.
whenever probably.
Okay, so we are on the end of this webinar. I want to request Ramsha Fatima, the finance head, to end on a vote of thanks.
Yeah, just we go to the word of thanks. Just my side, thank you so much, people. Just be at it, try doing things, and wonderful things will happen to you. If you ever need any sort of help from me, you can connect with me. I am open to connecting to people. Sometimes I might be slower in replies, but open to connecting to people, open to helping you solve case problems or any kind of questions you might have in consulting or startups or internships, any with the limited experience that I have. Thank you so much, and congratulations to the core team again for doing a huge job in getting this club. And thank you so much to all the members. Over to you guys. Thank you.
Good afternoon, respected Sheikh Hamza and dear participant. As we come to the end of this enriching session, it is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks. On behalf of the Consulting Club, I extend a heartfelt gratitude to Sheikh Hamza for delivering such an insightful and inspiring session on Anywhere Road of Consulting, your first step to success. Sir, today's session was not just informative, but genuinely motivating. You didn't just speak about consulting, you showed how to think like a consultant. The way you explained the reality of the field, the importance of structured thinking, and how students can prepare themselves step by step made everything clearer and more achievable. What truly stood out was your practical and honest approach. You spoke not only about opportunities but also about mindset and efforts required to create them. Your real world insight and relatable example have given us a clearer roadmap and renewed confidence. Sessions like these truly build the gap between ambition and direction, and I'm sure everyone here is walking away with better clarity and stronger sense of purpose. We are extremely grateful that you took out your time to guide us and mentor us today. It means a lot to our club and every participant present here. I would like to extend a sincere thanks to the organizing team for their dedication behind the scene and to all the participants who made this session interactive and meaningful. Thank you again, sir, for being our anywhere door to the consulting world. We truly hope to host you again in the future. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day ahead.
okay, so you guys can.
All the members, I hope that you have joined with your original name and